Hey guys, back here with Matthew the Herf Guide. Today's video is my second video of the day. It has nothing to do with the cigar smoking. It has to do with the industry and the cigars we love. Here's 3 quick tips on becoming a cigar hobbyist, a tobacco hobbyist, if you will. How do you enjoy this hobby of cigars without the pressure to purchase excessive number of sticks? I see a trend where people are buying, filling humidor after humidor. They never get to enjoy the cigar. Okay? So my encouragement to you today is this: 3 steps to becoming a more knowledgeable and enjoyable experience with your cigars. Rule number 1: smoke what you love. If you like something, if you love something, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone encourage you to try to not smoke what you love because they don't see the value and the appeal in that cigar. I'll give you a great example. The Tabak Especial, Drew Estates cigar. Not my favorite stick. Not one that I go to, but one of my best friends, if we go into a brick and mortar, that's the first stick he's looking for. He loves it. It's his go-to. It's his staple. He will smoke that 9 times out of 10. It's not up to me to convince him that there's better cigars out there for him, because that's what he loves. If you've got a cigar you love, regardless of what the reviews say, regardless of what Cigar Aficionado says, regardless of what the talking heads on Instagram like me say, smoke what you love. Rule number 2: don't be afraid to put a cigar back in your humidor, let it sit for a while, and come back to it 3, 6, 12 months, 24 months down the road, and see if it hits you different than it did the first time. Personally, when I shop at a brick and mortar, I buy 2 cigars of anything new. One to smoke the day I buy it, or within that first couple days, and one to set back and revisit. On the revisit, 3, 6 months down the road, if I really love the cigar, I'll buy even more, okay? Now, sometimes I hit that first smoke and I'm like, man, I love this. I got to go buy a 5-pack because I don't want a limited release to pass me by. But pace yourself. You don't have to own a dozen, 2 dozen of every single cigar that hits the market, because it may not be for you. And the worst thing in the world is having a box full of cigars that you don't really like and the ones you love are missing, right? So be intentional about the cigars you're visiting and you're enjoying. Last rule: don't rule out a brand or a cigar because you tried one 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. In my case, some of these 15, 18 years ago, and you didn't like it then, so you won't like it now. Our palate evolves, and our flavor profiles and our preferences change, and so do the blenders, right? These companies change hands, these companies evolve, these companies change, and so do the cigars. So I would encourage you, number 3, don't be afraid to revisit something you smoked years ago, because you may like it now, even if you didn't like it then. And there's nothing more fun than finding a brand of cigar that is constantly available. It's not a limited edition. It's easy to find. It's always there. You can find deals, and you just love that cigar. Because then when you have a craving for that cigar you love, you know you can get your hands on it. And I'll give you an example. The Hoya de Monterey Excalibur, with a morning cup of coffee, like a mild to medium early day cigar, is one of my favorite mild to medium cigars. Okay, it has been for almost 20 years. I love that cigar. I've watched that cigar go up in price. I've watched that cigar evolve to multiple variations with the King Arthur and the 1066 and some of these expansions on the Hoya de Monterey Excalibur. But what I always know is that for a mild to moderate smoke, that's going to be my go-to. Okay, it hasn't changed over the years. There are other cigars that early, when I first started smoking cigars, I enjoyed them, I liked them. Today, they're not for me. Okay? So be willing to both revisit old cigars, but also to say, if this isn't for me, I'm not going to keep smoking it just because everybody tells me it's a great cigar. There's really good cigars out there that a lot of people like that just aren't for me. Your palate is your palate. Smoke what you love. Always buy in doubles so you can revisit it after it's aged a little bit and give it a second chance. And number 3, don't be afraid to revisit things that you've tried in the past because your palate has changed. Hope this helps you become a more developed cigar aficionado, a hobbyist. Enjoy the hobby. Enjoy what you do. And we'll have more tips and tricks in the weeks and months to come. Thanks for hanging out with Matthew the Herp Guide. Keep it smoky.